Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Midland Reporter Telegram's District 3-5A report. Well, we're here at week 9. We got 2 weeks to go, and it's rivalry week here in District 3-5A. Midland High will play Lee, Odessa Permian will play Odessa High, and Abilene Cooper will play Abilene High at Shotwell Stadium in Abilene. I'm here with Sean Schroyer. Well, Sean, we'll get to predictions and talk about Lee Midland High a little bit here later, but first of all, let's talk about that game in Odessa. Kind of get that one out of the way. And, people are wondering, it's been a long time since that game has really meant a lot for a lot for both teams, but both teams really aren't playing very well right now, are they?
Yeah, this one meant a lot for different reasons, not because there was a district championship on the line or anything, mainly just because there's that fourth playoff spot on the line, and with the league coming out on top Friday, that's what they're in position to do now is claim that fourth playoff spot.
What is it? Grant, who do you think is going to win that thing? Because I know Permian's defense has been suspect. They've had issues on offense. Bradley Marquez we're not quite sure what he's got. I think he ended up having a concussion. And he's battled some other stuff as well. Odessa High may have found a quarterback finally. What's going to happen in that game tomorrow? On Friday.
I've always kept faith in Odessa High, but this season just does not appear to be their year. Even last week, granted they were playing a legit team like Cooper, but they're still having problems tackling. They're still having too many penalties. They're having turnovers at inopportune times, and for whatever reason, this just does not seem to be their year. And Permian, you can't really say it's been their year either, but they seem to just have more continuity going for them right now.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Who do you think is going to win the game?
I think Permian will in a pretty close and probably ugly game.
I like Odessa High in this one. I think if Bradley Marquez plays and he's healthy, I think Odessa High is going to win this game. I may be, I'm jumping out on another one out there, but I really think that if Bradley plays, I think he's going to have a good night. And I really think Bradley's going to give Odessa High a shot to win. Now the big game in Abilene for the district title. Both of them likely going to be going to the Division II playoffs. This is a big game for seeding, for both teams as they go into the playoffs. But also, man, something's got to give in this game. Cooper's offense has been playing well. Their defense has been suspect. Is this game going to be a high-scoring game, or do you think Abilene High's defense has enough to control Cooper to keep things, to give their offense a chance to maybe get a touchdown, 2-touchdown lead on them?
I think it'll be relatively high-scoring. I don't think it'll be like the 56-52 Lee Cooper game. I think it'll be probably closer to the 30s, somewhere in there. But I really wish I could have seen Abilene High last week against Midland High, see them get more of a test than they got against Lee. But just based on what I've read and know of the teams, it seems like Abilene High. It seems like the difference is going to be on defense, and Abilene High seems to have the better defense there. And so, as powerful of an offense as Cooper has, I think Abilene High will be able to slow them down just enough. And Cooper, if they play like they did against Lee, then they'll give up a lot of points to Abilene High.
Yeah, I really think it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be high scoring, and it's going to be a game where you better have your calculators ready, because I think both teams can score, both teams can run. It's really going to be an 11-man game that's going to be played like a 6-man game, where both defenses are counting on getting the key stops. More than anything, because I think both defenses are going to have trouble stopping their offenses, each other's offense. It's going to be about stops. It's going to be about getting that key stops and momentum at the right time of the game. Who do you think is going to win?
Going with still Cooper, right? Or Abilene High?
Abilene High Cooper, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Abilene High is who I got.
Okay.
Making sure you didn't switch games.
No, I didn't.
But yeah, I got Abilene High winning probably about 35-33, somewhere in there.
I like Abilene High in this one too. I think it's going to be high scoring though. I think it's going to be 45-42. I think it's going to come down to last second field goal. Whoever touches the ball last is likely going to win in this game. Now we get to the big game at Grande Communications Stadium on Friday. Big game for both teams. Midland High wins, they're in. Lee wins if they're likely in the playoffs as well, because of no matter what they have to do the next week against Odessa High. But still, it's a big game for both teams, because both teams want to figure out. Lee wants to keep some momentum going. Midland High wants to get some momentum going after last week's loss to Abilene High. The big thing is that you look on paper, Midland High should win this game. And that was the same thought last year. Is that in both? Do you think that's in both teams' minds, especially the guys who played on Midland High's team last year?
I think it would have to be because that was a game. Last year's game was one everybody thought that Midland High was going to win, and going into the second half, even the fourth quarter, it looked like they were going to win, and then they traded all those late touchdowns the last 4 minutes, and Lee wound up pulling it out, and so that was, a heartbreaking loss to any team. But the fact that it was kids you see going around town, I'm sure that made it a little bit harder to take.
Yeah, it was I think it's a tough, and I think that really hurt Midland High's playoff chances. I mean, they had a bunch more chances to win some games, but I really think that game kind of set the tone for the rest of the season. It also set the tone for Lee the rest of the season, but they did lay an egg the next week and lose to Lubbock High after winning that big game. So it's going to be an interesting game. What do you think is going to be the biggest matchup in this game?
Special teams proved to be kind of an X factor last week for Lee, but you can't really count on special teams every week for
Right.
you. So I really think it's going to be what Lee's defense can do to slow down Midland High's offense. They had a good bounce-back game last week against Permian, slowing down their running game, even though Permian was without DeAnthony Fay. And they contained Serrano, who the week before had set a school record for passing yards. So, if they can carry that momentum over from last week's game, then you have to like their chances. But then if they just let Middleton and Woods just gash them for big gains, and it could turn probably not as bad as Abilene High game, but it could come close to that.
Yeah, it's going to be a game where Lee has to keep this thing low scoring. They really can't let Tyler Middleton get loose. They can't let Woods get loose. I think what they really have to do is they have to force Midland High to throw the football. They have to make sure that if Midland High is going to beat them, they have to do it through the air, whether it's Woods doing it, Hollifield doing it. Because I think Lee's defense showed last week that they can play pretty well, especially after the week before against Abilene High, where they were, I don't think gashed is the right word, I think just basically demolished was the correct word for what Abilene High did to them. I think they did a much better job last week. Sean, your prediction, who do you think is going to win?
For whatever reason, I just have a lot of faith in the league coaches. And, none of their wins have been pretty lately, but I think they're going to find a way to pull this one out just like they did last year. And I think I'm going to go with Lee 27-21.
I like Midland High in this one. I think Midland High's talent may be just a tad too much. It's going to be close though. It's going to come down to the last. It's going to come down to the last couple plays of the game. I think Midland High is going to win this thing 21-16 because I think they're really playing with a purpose this year, especially after missing the playoffs last year and losing to Lee so early in the season last year. So, I really think it's a game that's going to be low scoring. I think Midland High will win though because I think they just got a little bit more talent than Lee does right now, and I think that's going to make a difference in the game. Now, on to bigger and better things. Sean, who's going to win the World Series?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I put more thought into that than I did.
I wouldn't say that too loud.
than 358 this week. Anyway, after analyzing the series, a couple key points that I want to talk about. I think Game 3 and possibly Game 7 are going to be kind of the swing games in this series with Jonathan Sanchez and Colby Lewis going on the mound because last series, Jonathan Sanchez just seemed to kind of freak out against the Phillies.
Right.
And so I don't know. If he's there mentally, he can be on and dominate, but if not, then that might swing the Rangers' direction. And then I also think a big thing is going to be Vlad Guerrero, seeing him back in the outfield in those National League Park games. So I don't know. Looking at the series, I think the home team is going to win every game this series. And,
wow.
Yeah, not many people are giving the Giants much of a chance, but they just took out the Phillies, and the Phillies, have a very similar lineup to the Rangers, and it's been the year of the pitcher, and pitcher by pitcher, the Giants seem to have the advantage there. So that's what I'm going with. I've
watched the Rangers a long time. I've seen the Giants. I was a Giants fan in the early '90s when the Braves kind of took the mantle from them. So I really would like to see the Giants win this game. Both teams, for me, it doesn't really matter who wins. I would like to see the Giants win because I think as a franchise, it's been a while for them, and especially the Rangers as well. But I really think the Giants will win. I just hope it goes 7 games. I hope we see some good pitching. And Wednesday night, if you're a hitter on either one of those two teams, I don't even know why you go to the plate. It could be a tough night. But I'm hoping the Giants win. As far as a prediction, I really think the Rangers will win. I think their lineup is just going to be too good for the Giants. But keep in mind, this is kind of like an old school World Series where these two teams haven't seen a whole lot of each other over the last year or so, so that could make a difference. But I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today here on the District 35A Report by the Midland Reporter Telegram. I'm Len Hayward. That's Sean Schroyer. Thank you for joining us.